Hello, everybody, and welcome to Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies. We got someone exciting here for you today. His name is Andre Laurent, and he is president and CEO of Diagnos. Now, let me just really quickly tell you something about the company. This is an artificial intelligence-based company that gives you a diagnostic so simple and effective, and it's just from a flash. We'll get into that a little bit later, but let's get into Andre's background just a little bit over here. For that, of course, everybody out there knows I need my glasses. Okay, so we have Andre Laurent, president and CEO of Diagnos, and Mr. Laurent has 26 years in the information sector. He was lead management in positions such as Siemens, Syskin International, New Bridge Networks, Legent Corp, Cognos, Tandem Computers, and of course, Honeywell Information Systems. Andre, hello. Thank you for being here with us today on Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Thank you very much, Albert, and to you and your audience.
Yes, thank you. Honestly, thank you for being here. My audience for sure is going to appreciate this show, this presentation here today that you have for us, because naturally we have a following of people that are interested in all different types of things that's medical, whether it's from telehealth or whatever. We're always looking for stocks that have high growth opportunities. Now, naturally here with Diagnos, we have an artificial intelligence based system that is capable of, through a picture, analyzing the back of your eye to basically tell us if we have diabetes that can lead to blindness and other problems. Is this correct?
Well, it doesn't tell you if you're diabetic. The system we have is for people that are already diagnosed as diabetics,
okay,
or suffering from other hypertensive disease.
Yes.
The only way to figure out if you're diabetic or not is legally, and from a medical perspective, is a blood test. Once you do your blood test, then they discover that your glucose levels are very, very high. And then bingo, they do some more tests and you're going to be diabetic for a very, very, very long time.
But the technology itself, when we're actually taking a picture of the back of the eye, it views abnormalities that basically from the diabetes can tell us that it's leading to like a diabetic blindness, correct?
Yeah, correct. So if you are diabetic, I mean, all the governments around the world will tell you that you should be taking a picture of the back of your eye and to monitor yourself on a yearly basis. So let's say that you've been diabetic for 2, 3, 4 years, then you got to start looking at the back of your eye. And the reason is that diabetes affects small blood vessels inside your body. You hear about people get their toes cut off. Well, yes. Why the toes? Well, the toes have very small blood vessels in them. Okay. Another area that has small blood vessels is in your eyes. So the neat thing about the eye is there's been cameras taking pictures of the back of the eye for the last 15 years, but really nobody's used it to actually help in terms of a diagnostic a tool or a screening tool to help all these diabetics or at least people that suffer from cardiovascular.
Okay. And this is not just something that affects older people. It affects young people now, and actually, we know we're all humans. It's a worldwide issue here.
Yeah, diabetes is a big disease. There's no cure for it, and there's no cure in sight. So by taking a picture of the back of your eye, you see the small blood vessels. You see also two types of blood vessels. You see the arteries and you see a vein. Yeah. So knowing that you're seeing both of those, then that's your entire system when you think of it. Your heart will be pumping one way, the other way. It goes into your arteries and then it goes into your veins. Yeah. So by being able to take a picture of those blood vessels, then we can actually monitor different types of diseases. Very specifically.
Very, very specifically. So we're looking at like heart, lung.
Looking at diabetes, we're looking at people that suffer from hypertension. Yeah. We have glaucoma. We have what they call AMD, so age-related macular degeneration. Yes. These are for the older generation people,
Yes.
I would say 60, 65 years and older.
Yeah.
we are right now in the middle of a clinical trial where we can actually predict that you're going to have a stroke by, again, taking the picture of that the back of the eye and analyzing the blood vessels. So, and then later on, we'll be able to do a heart attack.
Wow. So we're looking at some serious prevention here.
Yes. So today we're in production for the first application. So monitoring diabetics.
Yes.
So if you're diabetic, the governments will tell you once a year, you got to do this. So we have this in production today. And we have several regulatory approvals on it, Health Canada, FDA, and so forth. But the application works very, very well. It's very quick. It's not invasive. It takes less than 2 minutes for a patient to sit down and take a picture and go. We've been working with governments around the world, specifically because they own hospitals and we're in the hospitals. But now we have actually, because of the COVID situation, most of those hospitals shut down for people that were diabetic because the COVID virus was very, very tough on people that have diabetes.
Yes,
so
very true.
sensitive to them.
Yeah, very true.
So the hospital said, okay, stay home and all that. So now they're coming back. But during that time, we also were able to look at the private sector, and we established a new business line in terms of being in optometry stores. And we're looking at other new ways to get to patients without being into a hospital setting where it's a little bit more touchy for them.
I have something to say about that. It was in Saudi Arabia, is it, where they have vans that go and reach out to different areas, and basically it's set up in the van system. People don't go to the hospital, but they're able to get it from. Is that correct? Is that?
Well, we started this 4 years ago in India. And the reason why we started in India because in India, there was no physical room in the hospitals. Remember, that's how our first market were hospitals. So there was no physical room in India. So I came up with the idea. We bought 4 vans and we refurbished the van. And in the morning, we'd go in front of the hospital and we'd had a lineup of 200 people, getting their eyes checked.
Okay, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, honestly, that's incredible because, I mean, just think about how much you're really helping those people.
Yes, and if you live in the outskirts, if you're in cities, it's easy to get all these, medical attention. But if you go out to, the outskirts and small villages, it's very difficult for them. There's no specialists. There's no, sometimes they don't even have a doctor. So if you're able to bring the technology to them through a very simple process, you put a camera inside of a van and you go to the patients. You can actually help, a lot of people in the outskirts of these large cities.
Yeah, because then the vans can just go back regularly and keep on to keep on the preventive. Yeah, and not only that, but like we're saying, it's not just this one thing. It can lead to preventing other things as well.
We're starting with diabetes, but we'll be announcing very, very shortly 3 new products. Wow. So by being able to with the same picture again, so with the same picture at the back of the eye, so now we can actually monitor other diseases. So it's very good in terms of reach. And it's also very sustainable in terms of technology because once you screen a patient, well, you have him for life. It's a recurring revenue type model where you're going to go back to see that patient, or that patient will come and see you in the stores we have going or in the hospitals.
Yes.
So it's a full circle, and it lasts as long as the disease lasts. And like I said, there's no cure for it.
Yeah.
So we have them for a long time.
Yeah. And actually, with that in mind, the actual, so because you know what, I know you have a very, very powerful presentation. So then basically what my question was going to be that this picture, because we didn't get into the exact details of how this picture is done. People could be like, yeah, but what exactly do you do? And everything. But your presentation will be able to visually, and also at the same time as you're explaining it, we will get into more. Would you like to get into the presentation to show everyone, or so that they can also hear you for our Spotify members?
Yes, and also if they also in the presentation we show you pictures of the back of your eyes. So
that's
most
amazing.
people, you wear glasses, so when you went to your optometrist, they might have taken a picture of the back of your eye. So
yes,
these pictures are done on a regular basis, millions of them every day. So let me share my screen.
Okay, perfect. All right, so that's the presentation. Okay, so perfect. Yes, diagnose, an eye on the future. I like the catch also. Okay, so take it away, Andre, please.
Okay, so Diagnos is an artificial intelligence company. We've been doing AI for the last 15 years here. So it's not something new. It was called differently before, but it's the same thing. So I'm going to show you what we've done. And we've now focused our attention on the healthcare sector because it's a sector that will last forever. And let me get into it. So what we do is we really are using artificial intelligence to actually analyze medical imaging. So the medical picture at the back of your eye. And our mission is really to do early detection of any serious health issues through the eyes, because in the eye, we can see many different types of diseases, or at least the effect of the disease. So we are a Montreal-based company. Our entire team is here. We own the entire science behind us. We built it. And let me talk to you about some of the milestones we've passed in the last several years. So if I start with the recent ones, we've actually started just before Christmas a fairly complicated clinical trial where we'll be able to predict that you're going to have a stroke with the same picture at the back of the eye. So the same picture that's used for diabetes, hypertension, glaucoma, AMD, we can now actually predict if you are a stroke candidate. We've done over the last several years a bunch of things. So we have regulatory approvals. We've done some business with the large pharmaceutical companies such as Novartis, Bayer, Novo Nordisk. They were there essentially to help us get our data to build the final application. So without them, we would have probably not had as much success as at gathering the data we need. And we also did some strategic relationship here in the CHUM in Montreal. CHUM is a brand new hospital. It's an amalgamation of several hospitals together. It's like a 5-star hotel. And they're very, very hot on using artificial intelligence to help their patients. We just recently did a small financing. We have a university partner called ETS. So ETS is a engineering school. So they produce engineers, software engineers, and they have a very large AI group there.
Yeah, the ETS program is very well known. I mean, we can't say anything about it. Definitely, that is a big school. They're known worldwide.
Yes, and the AI department is extremely powerful.
Yes,
You can if you put engineers at the task,
yeah.
they can deliver neat things.
Oh yeah, agreed.
So I'm going to tell you that we are covered by an analyst group called Echelon Wealth Partners in Toronto. So we have a target price over the next 12 months of $1.55.
Wow.
And we had a target before that of 95, $1.55. And we're going to be putting the efforts to get the company known now. And the reason why we want to get the company known is I think we are a very good success story. And what we do is sustainable. It's not going to disappear because what we do with patients is here to stay.
Yeah.
And the analyst has a 30-page report that is available on their website.
Perfect. Okay.
So our market statistic, our share price is currently 25, a high at 55. We have some money in the bank. We also have a credit line from the Quebec government. And this is a kind of a credit line at 0% interest and a payback over 10 years.
Wow.
So this money is to pay 50% of our sales and marketing efforts. So if we spent $100,000 in a quarter, they would actually finance 50,000 of it at 0% interest, and then we pay them back $5,000 a year for the next 10 years.
Oh my God,
it's a great deal for us. The Quebec Minister of Economy really likes what we do because we export 90% of what we do. So we're based in Canada, but we export outside 90% of what we do. We only have 69 million shares. We have a 4.4 million in options mainly to our employees. Very little debt, as you can see. Number of warrants, I put 0, but it's really 45,000 warrants.
Okay.
Because we just did a financing, and I forgot to update the slide. But we really have no warrants overhanging the market.
And just wanted to add to that, this whole the Quebec government with the money issue here, that's which is really great for the debt and everything like that. With the financing that they give, and is it probably important to note that one of the reasons why they might be doing this is because I was looking at statistics. 34.2 million, 7.3 million went undiagnosed. This is the United States. Okay.
Yes.
But because they're not diagnosed, it then ends up costing them 327 billion because they weren't
Absolutely.
diagnosed.
Yep.
So you save the medical system big money too.
Well, I can tell you that at the SHIM, we are installed at the SHIM, and they're doing a study in our technology and what is the real impact in terms of dollars to the government. Because a lot of people say, a lot of companies will say, "Oh, I can save you money." This now the SHIM is actually, I would say, certifying that we are saving money. So in the first, there's two stages there. First stage, they actually told the government and told us that we are saving them $84 for each diabetic patient that go through our analysis versus the traditional analysis at
There
the
you go.
hospital.
There you go. Yeah.
Now, $84, you say, well, it's not that much, except in Quebec, there's almost 1 million diabetics. So now
There
you're
you go.
looking at saving them $84 million
Yeah.
on a yearly basis,
Yeah,
every
it's
year.
huge.
It's
This is
huge.
huge. This for them is an investment. This is an investment. Your company is an investment for them.
Absolutely. The second part that they're actually confirming now is if we are finding these diabetic patients in the early stage, well, we save them treatment. Now they're actually costing, how much money am I saving them in terms of treatment? Now, the American Academy of Ophthalmology, they've actually done this work already. So if we save them $84 per patient, we will save them $84 in medication treatment. It's a one-to-one relationship. So now you're looking at Quebec saving maybe $160 million a year,
a year
by using our system.
No, of course. No, this is it's honestly, it's a no-brainer. I mean, any wise investor company, doesn't matter, any human would take that trade-off any day.
Well,
for sure.
Yeah, and that's where we get a lot of support from the Quebec government here.
Yeah.
Who actually not just help us from a financing, but we hope that we will be working with the most of the hospitals here in this province in the next 12 to 18 months.
No, I'm sure this is going to go worldwide. I'm sure everybody's going to want this because you're just saving everybody money everywhere, and you're saving lives.
Right.
Well, eyesight.
Yeah.
And you're saving eyesight, or maybe lives too, strokes and stuff.
Well, it's coming. So I'll tell you more about that.
All right,
so
let's keep on
if you're
going.
an investor, buy yourself a share and save somebody's vision. That's the way I say it.
It's a great trade-off.
Yeah. Now, on these shares that we have, the 69 million shares, meaning the insiders and family office, we own about 40% of the stock, maybe a little bit more. And that stock is not for sale. So really, we have a small float out there, but we need it to create the the momentum in the market.
Okay.
So for sure, if you go into healthcare, you need to have all these certifications. If you don't have them, it's very difficult to sell into the healthcare systems because governments really look at some of these, for example, ISO. So ISO is very important because it's a quality management system. So once you have that, then you can apply for Health Canada, FDA. HIPAA is really a security compliance where you don't, you have to take care of the patient's data. So it's very well protected. In our case, we don't keep the name of the patients and the addresses and phone numbers. So it's less of an issue for us, but we're still HIPAA compliant. And we have other ones, CE mark for Europe, COFEPRIS for Mexico. We have Saudi FDA, and we have other ones also. All of this because we were able to actually analyze close to 400,000 patients with our technology and come up with a final product that is now in production.
Okay.
Now, what is it we actually do? So for people, investors who have not been to the optometrist or ophthalmologist, a picture of the back of your eye looks at, it's the same picture that you see here on the left side. And let me actually increase the pictures to show you, okay?
Okay.
So this picture is actually a real picture of the back of your eye, the retina. Yes. So I'll tell you what you're seeing. So the dark yellow, the light yellow circle is your optical nerve. And all these blood vessels that you see that are going in there, they actually go straight into your brain after that.
Okay.
On the left side, you see a darker circle there. So that's actually your vision center. It's called the macula and the fovea. And that's where you actually see. So if you're diabetic or if you suffer from hypertension, you want to make sure that you protect that area. If you don't, then you go blind. The stains that you see, the yellow and the blue stains, are actually pathology. And so what you want to do is protect the fovea all the time. So we do calculations. You see these dotted lines. We create that with our software. And then we calculate the distance between the pathology on the retina and the fovea to protect it. Anything that's inside the dotted line around the darker area, you are a critical patient. What that means is that when you find this, number one, it doesn't hurt you, so you don't know. So you would be at this stage and you would have no clue that you're almost going blind, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, when you get into this circle, then we identify the patient as being very critical, and he is shipped right away to the ophthalmologist. So in the case of a SHIM, for example, pretty much all hospitals in the world work the same way. So you're diabetic, you go see your doctor at the hospital, they're called endocrinologists. So your endocrinologist has been monitoring you for years and years, but he doesn't know if you're suffering from what we call retinopathy here for these diabetics. At one point he says, oh, Albert, it's time for you to go in ophthalmology. You're now 44 years old, you've been diabetic for 10 years, we ship you over there. So you go in line at the SHIM. So the waiting time to go in to see the ophthalmologist is between 18 and 40 months at the SHIM. Now, if you're in this case, or very critical, well, you can't wait that long. Why? You can see that yellow stain right at the edge of the dark circle there.
You know what? I'm just curious, Andre, is it possible your mouse, if you move your mouse, can you point at those things? Oh, you could point at those things. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
So this is where you see, this is the dotted lines to protect this environment here.
Yes.
So here's the optical nerve.
Yep.
So you can see here, there's a small yellow dot here.
Correct.
Right? So that's
Yes.
pathology. That's the same as here, here, here. Okay.
Yes.
So anything that goes inside of here, you're critical. But when you get to see a stain that's really on the edge of your macula, it's extremely dangerous.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll show
Okay.
you why in the next slide. Okay.
Okay.
So our system really looks at all of this, analyzes all of this, okay, within 4 seconds.
Wow.
Within 4 seconds, we take the measurements, we identify the pathology, we also locate the blood vessels. So these blood vessels that you see here, some of them are arteries, some of them are veins.
Yeah.
So we actually make the difference between the two. All of this analysis done within 4 seconds.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then from artificial intelligence that never gets tired.
Yeah, using the artificial intelligence, because that's the only way to really, to get to the stage where you can actually do this very quickly.
Okay.
So the automatic classification, what I just talked about, so the system actually classifies it very quickly.
Yeah.
Sensitivity, specificities are terms that terminology in the medical world where you actually have to have those numbers. So we publish all our numbers, and 94% sensitivity and specificity, 88% is better than a human being. So the system is better than anybody that trying to look at these pictures.
Wow.
And also, we do this in 4 seconds. A human being would probably take 2 to 5 minutes to look at it, and then maybe do another reading by another person, like another specialist, to
Yeah.
make sure that the two have the same results. That's the way it works.
Wow. Yeah. No. And this is just 4 seconds because of your artificial intelligence.
Right.
That this is the future.
And the other piece that's sorry about that. The other piece that's really nice is that we can actually increase the quality of the image on the right side of the picture here. So you can actually see now much better behind the image. So the left image here is the picture that comes out of the camera, and the right picture is what we do with that image. So one of the things we do, we increase the quality of the image to make sure that we don't miss anything. This is it's essential when you work with nurses and doctors, not specialists, not ophthalmologists, that they can actually see these blood vessels in a much better light than on the left picture here that you see.
Oh,
Okay.
incredible. Yeah. I see that. It's very incredible. It's
Yeah. Now, remember that small yellow dot that I showed you?
yes.
Right here, around the dark center?
Yeah. The
If you
red
don't
part.
take care of it, this is what's going to happen. That dark yellow stain will jump onto your macula, and you're going to have a dark black stain.
Oh, no.
Once you have that, there is no treatment to help you. You will go blind.
That is
There's
very
nothing,
sad.
there's nothing you can do because there's no treatment to actually touch the fovea. You touch it, you go blind. There's no laser, there's no medication, there's absolutely nothing. Okay?
Wow.
So it's
That-
important here to identify this pathology on the left side and make sure that you don't have this happening to you.
That's quite incredible.
Yep.
4 seconds.
Yep. And now let me show you what we're going to do in identifying people with hypertension and stroke. So these are three things that we do, and it'll take less than 4 seconds also. First one is we measure the thickness of the arteries and vein inside your retina. So we actually measure the thickness of it. And the reason why we do this is every single eyeball in the world, it doesn't matter if you weigh 100 pounds or 600 pounds, the eye organ does not change with your weight, height, and mass and your muscle. It is the same size for everybody in the planet.
Wow, that's quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, and because of that, now when you actually go in and take a picture of the back of your eye, you can actually measure the thickness of the arteries and veins because of the same for everybody.
Wow.
Second thing we look is what we call tortuosity. So tortuosity in the middle, these blood vessels are supposed to be nice and straight. When they start squiggling like that, it means that there's a lot of pressure at their heart level. And that pressure actually is putting, at the heart level, is putting pressure on the small blood vessels. And this is what happens to it. And thirdly, we look at what we call retinopathy, is any disease on the retina. So you can see these blood at the end of the termination of the blood vessels here. Let me just see, I'll make it a little bit bigger. So you can see here, the blood vessels are there, and the small blood vessels are bursting.
Use your, can you show does your mouse go? Let's show us that. Oh, yes. Okay. Those little splotches that we're seeing.
So those little splashes that you see here, these are very small blood vessels, and they're bursting. And they're not bursting in one place. You can see here, here.
Yeah, they're bursting
here,
everywhere. Yeah.
Right? So this means that, now there's too much pressure and they're busting. So if you take, number 1, number 2, and number 3, here you can see the squiggling.
Yeah.
That actually gives you the sign that you're in deep trouble from a hypertension perspective and also from a stroke perspective. Okay. So
Wow.
these are imminent signs that if you don't see your doctor, well, you're going to have a stroke. And between you and me, you don't want to have a stroke. Most of 50% of people have stroke. They end up in a wheelchair where their face have frozen and, their bodies don't operate as normal as before.
Yeah, no, I know a few people have had strokes, and it's definitely not something that you want to go through. No.
Okay, so this is very high level. So how we're gonna create revenue, because the whole game here now is we're starting our revenue. So we're not an R&D, we've finished that. So we have our first application here that we call retinopathy. Okay.
Yes.
So that's in production. And I'll talk to you about some of the clients we have very soon. And this year, we're going to be announcing 3 new products. We're going to announce a product for hypertensive patients. We're going to actually have a product for age-related macular degeneration, and a third one for glaucoma. So in 2022, we're going to announce 3 new products, always based on the same picture. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And then next year, in 2023, if our clinical trial is successful, then we will actually announce a new product with a very large market for stroke.
Well,
okay?
yes.
Stroke, just to tell you, I'll tell you a little bit more about stroke in a second.
Okay.
So we have our first product in production, revenuing, 3 new ones, and some more in 2023.
And Andre, not to cut you off from the presentation, but everything that we're looking at here is all being done by a 4-second photo.
Yes.
Like, it's not, I mean, the photo itself is not something new, because I go to get, my eyes checked, my wife does, and my kids go get checked too, and they dilate the eye, and then they, they'll take a photo because they want to see what's going on in the back of the eye and stuff like that. So just taking a photo is something you do anyways, but you guys with this artificial intelligence, everything you have going on, this is something available. You could put anywhere worldwide in vans, like we saw for India, stuff like that, anywhere around the world. And then you're going to be offering all this. And this is basically all prevention.
It's all about prevention. Yes.
That's incredible.
Yep. Without prevention, you get to the end of a disease and and you're in very expensive treatment, or worse, you get operations and so forth, or you lose your vision. I mean, the last thing you want to do is lose your vision. I visited a place in Miami called the House of the Blind. And the House of the Blind is a federally financed, it's a physical house, very big. And when you go blind, they actually send you there to readapt to blindness. And I'm talking about not people that are poor. I mean, the person who gave me the tour was a senior vice president at Citibank. Within 6 months, became blind.
Oh
She's
my
giving
gosh.
me the tour. And what they do when you get into this house, they actually blindfold you, and you gotta follow.
Wow.
It is very, very scary. You don't want to
Yeah.
get to that level.
No, you don't want to get to that level. No, no.
Okay. So you were talking about telemedicine. So we've been a telemedicine company here since the beginning, but we give our telemedicine platform for free. When you buy our service, we provide this for free for you. And the reason why we do this is in many countries, they don't have the expertise. And now it's a little bit better, but 3-4 years ago, by giving this this technology to the hospitals and so forth, they were able to actually work with, clinics outside the hospital without bringing the people in. And that's when we saw the benefit of telemedicine. Now, today, after the pandemic, everybody knows about telemedicine. So our telemedicine module, we provide for free. And here you can see the referral pathway. Patient gets the picture taken by some kind of operator, goes onto the internet and a secure connection to our website. We enhance the images, we analyze it, and then we ship it back to the operator. And we also interconnect specialists and doctors. All of this within a few seconds. And this works fantastically.
Wow. There's no words really. It's quite fascinating for real.
Yeah. I'm not going to dwell on this slide, but people always ask me, do you have competitors? Well, yeah, nobody has no competitors worldwide.
Yes.
So this is the key competitor analysis that the analyst at the Echelon did. So not me, he did that. And the only thing that you got to remember from this slide is that our technology is extremely precise in terms of predicting what you have. So the last column, you can see here, R1, R2, R3. These are medical terms in the ophthalmology world where, it's very precise. If you're an R1 patient, or 2 or 3 or 4 and other levels, that really actually triggers the treatment for you.
Yes.
The column just before that, in terms of cost, look at all the costs for our competitors.
Yeah, 30, 40, 34 camera plus per use, and you're less than $10.
That's it. So my objective is to make this platform available for everybody. And you're going to tell me, why are you only charging $10? Well, our cost to do an analysis of a patient is 4 pennies, 2 pennies per eye.
What? That's it?
So, yes. So we have very high margins. And now the deal is to do more and more patients.
Hold on a second. You have those kind of margins. And from my research for 2022, my research says that it's basically a $36 billion market just for 2022. And you have those kind of margins.
Absolutely.
That's
and we're just getting off to the races. If it wasn't for the pandemic, we would be racing now at a much higher speed. I'll show you some of the numbers in the next.
You know what? That's good for us over here because maybe some people might have missed the boat. So
yes,
right now,
a
lot of people are watching this or listening to this going, thank God Albert got that on Betweenplays. Like they don't want to miss the opportunity of investing in your company at what, 24 cents right now?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
No, timing is good.
Yeah, timing is great. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to just finish with so our program. We don't sell software. This is a SaaS model, and we call our program "Beat It in a Blink." So "Beat It in a Blink" is a program to look for diabetic retinopathy. So these is for diabetes. And like I said, we don't sell our software. It's all triggered by internet transactions.
Wow.
The diabetic market is very big. It's not slowing down, as you know. So, and it's increasing at speed of light. And the reason is that there is no treatment for it. Now, you can actually help patient in terms of stopping the disease, but you cannot cure it. Okay, so that's very important. In terms of on the cardiovascular side, we call it "Beat It in a Heartbeat." So these are our 2 programs. So Beat It in a Heartbeat actually is a program for prevention using the eye as the picture at looking at your cardiovascular system inside your retina.
Yes.
Again, we're using the AI to do the analysis, okay?
Yes, which we
Now,
were looking at. Yes.
stroke management in the US alone is $38 billion a year on stroke management.
Okay.
So the cardiovascular for us is a very big market, is bigger than the diabetes market.
Okay.
And we're going to be putting a lot of effort to get the technology out there with very specific pharmaceutical companies such as Novo Nordisk and some other ones that have products and treatment for people that have cardio issues.
Okay, so I just want to go over something here. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but because I made an error, and it's important that investors see this. When I said 36 billion earlier, I was talking about your stroke. And
Yes.
and I wasn't actually covering your diabetes area, which also has its market, which is absolutely in the billions as well.
Absolutely.
And
well, the two numbers are very similar when you look at the market size of diabetics for the treatment and all that, and also cardiovascular. But when I say that, we have $8 billion on the diabetes side, is I take a portion of that 38 billion, 8 billion is that piece is what we do. Okay.
wow.
So it's significant. On the cardiovascular side, $38 billion in stroke management is what we do. So that market is even much bigger than that. So we're actually coming out now with these two solutions and trying to take the market on and grow our revenues. They're going to grow slowly, but they're going to grow. Revenues are going to start going up.
Okay.
And it's very profitable, like I told you. Right. So on the revenue side, we're looking at adding more and more sites, and that will create, increased revenue on a monthly basis. So we're going to go from 1 month to second month, third month, fourth month, over a year, over the second year. And you're going to see our revenues increasing because what we do is sustainable. It's not something that will disappear. It's here to stay. That revenue is here. It's also very specifically, it's a recurring revenue model.
Yeah.
And when I tell you when a individual goes into a optometry store and gets this test done, well, he's going to come back year 2, year 3, year 4, and we're going to monitor him. So all the patients that we're actually hosting now and getting through our customers are recurring revenue customers.
Yeah, and it's not just old people. It's old
No.
people, mid people, young people, men, women, and women that are pregnant have some, should doing this every 3 months or something like that. So this is like a lot of money, and it's around the world. So yeah.
So these two markets, diabetes and cardiovascular, are two very large markets. We're going to be coming out with our first application that addresses the cardiovascular market with our monitoring patients that are hypertensive. And we will be coming out with an announcement very, very soon.
Wow,
Very
exciting. That's exciting. Yeah, that's exciting.
Now, I got to talk to you for just a few seconds because we've done a press release in December that we started a clinical trial in the US. And we started the clinical trial with a group called Common Spirit. Common Spirit is the second largest medical group in the US. They are a non-for-profit organization. So every year, the profits go back into charity. Last year, they gave $4.2 billion in charity.
Wow.
In that group, they own 137 hospitals. They own about 1,200 clinics in 21 states. The idea here was when we presented our technology to them, they saw the impact from a positive perspective with all their patients, okay? Diabetics, non-diabetics. If there is a small test that you can do, non-invasive, and we can predict that the patient is going towards a stroke, then they can address it. And then if you don't have a stroke, well, you save a lot of money to the organization and so forth.
Yes.
So we're doing a 2-phase clinical trial. The first one, we're analyzing 50 patients live in a hospital in a place called Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yes, Chattanooga. So
patients comes into the hospital in an ambulance, had a stroke. They stabilize the patient, and then we take a picture of the back of the eye, the retina. We're going to do this with the first 50 patients. We're now up at 35 or 38 patients. And the reason why we don't have more than that is that in our medical protocol, COVID patients were not allowed to be in the clinical trial.
Yeah. Okay.
The reason is that we know that COVID affects small blood vessels, goes into your lungs. Well, why does it affect your lungs? It goes after your small blood vessels.
Okay.
So we couldn't take those patients in our clinical trial. But
Okay.
the clinical trial phase 1 is almost done.
Wow.
And then should be done in the next 60 days. Once that's done, we analyze it with the specialist at Common Spirit. So the head of their innovation committee, the head of the endocrinology, the head of neurology. There's a group of about 10 very high specialists that are working with us. And the idea is to finish this thing and go to the second phase after that. And if we are right in our analysis, it's not an analysis that we came up with. This approach was done about 10 years ago at Harvard University, Princeton, and other very prestigious universities, medical universities, where they saw that we could take a picture of the back of the eye, and by monitoring the blood vessels, they could actually see what's happening if you're going to have a stroke or a heart attack. So we took that and we mechanized that.
Wow.
Yep.
Incredible.
So few last slides. Our business model is very simple. We're very flexible. We can be a standalone environment. So this standalone environment, to give you a specific example, if you optometry stores, well, they already have the camera. They already have the technician. So we provide them the software, the platform. Okay. Again, it's an internet platform. So it's a cloud-based platform. If they don't have a camera, we can provide the camera. So we take the transaction, we put up, a little bit more dollars for the transaction, and we can provide that for them. A managed environment is we can provide the technician. So now we provide the platform, the camera, and the technician. We use this in a lot of cases with hospitals. And most hospitals, the nurses are fully booked, so we provide them technicians.
Oh.
And the last one is something that we did in India, and we did it in a few other countries, where we can provide the whole managed environment, but in a vehicle that can go out into the outskirts of large states and countries to actually screen patients that are diabetic or suffering from cardiovascular.
That's incredible, because you have all this different way to get it out there too. So you don't just have the technology, but you also have many different ways to be able to reach people.
Yeah, the idea is to make it available and make it sustainable through the next 10, 15 years.
Very accessible. Like, you're very accessible.
Yep. We have a value proposition. So for patients, it's very quick, it's very fast. It's we don't dilate, so it's very good. Patients really like this.
Yeah.
From optometry, doctors, endocrinology, they can have a much higher patient compliance to a lot of these government guidelines. Retina specialists or ophthalmologists, well, we actually give them referable, treatable cases. So they don't lose their time with this. They love our technology. Pharmaceutical companies, we've been working with them for the last 5 years, so they know us. They actually sponsor a lot of the programs, like screening programs. And the last 2 years have been pretty difficult, but now we can see them coming back, and they want us to run screening programs. We haven't done the insurance company. It's something we want to do this year, but there's definitely an impact on insurers if they know their client is diabetic,
Yes.
or worse, diabetic and suffering from cardiovascular. Well, you don't want them to be blind. So
Yes.
for $10, we can actually go in and verify that for them.
Okay.
In our first market, in our biggest market originally was government. So we show governments how they can have cost avoidance, short, medium, and long term. In very good, what we call positive political optics, where if the government decides to help their community, then they have a direct impact on their votes also.
Oh, I see. That's very smart.
Yeah. So I'm going to finish with the business side. So some of the clients that we just signed up, not too long ago, includes New Look. New Look is a Canadian optometry group. They own. They used to own. Well, they own 407 sites in Canada, but they also own 45 in the US.
Yeah, they're big.
So with an optometry store, it's really cool because they already have the equipment. They already have the technician.
Correct.
So what we do is we provide them the technology to do a standard analysis of the back of the eye. When we started with New Look, we're talking about bringing diabetics to them. But very quickly, they saw the benefit of having our technology with all their clients. So now we're part of what they call a pretest. So every single client that goes into New Look for a test, we're going to be part of that test automatically.
Yeah, that's great because it's a very simple place to do it too. You go there, get your glasses and stuff, and absolutely, it's ideal. Basically, everybody should have this.
Yeah, so we have about 20 sites done on the 407. COVID's, slowed down a little bit, but now we can see that they're going to pick up again next month, and then we're going to start going. So the potential yearly revenue for us in that account alone is 6.5 million. So in 18 months from now, when they're all installed, we're going to be running at that level. Maghrabi is in Saudi Arabia, so we've signed them up. There's 32 hospitals. We have one hospital fully up and running. It slowed down again with the pandemic, but now they're restarting. So it's another 2.5 million once the 32 hospitals are signed up. 2020 now is in the US. It's a group of optometrists. Chaparral is a clinical group. They have 22 clinics. We're in 3 to 22. Opticalia is a franchisee chain for optometry. So they don't own the store. They just package the stores. And if you want to start a store somewhere, they give you a turnkey environment. What size of floor you need, what kind of furniture you need. They'll provide the lenses, everything. It's a turnkey environment.
Wow. Okay.
So we have seven stores done, and we're actually continuing working with them. Last one here is Opticalia Central. It's another optical group in Costa Rica. We just started with them. And so, again, it's a $500,000 potential for us. So we're actually signing up these customers, and they're signed. New Look is a 7-year contract. We're trying to do 3-year contract with everybody. Okay. So it's not we're going for the long term, but New Look, it's a 7-year agreement.
Wow. Okay.
So we're just getting to the stage where we're getting, from all of these sites here, we have, probably about 40 sites already up and running and growing every month.
And with those partners that you're mentioning, okay, the thing is, it's very important that everybody always remembers is it's the artificial intelligence that's doing the readings.
Yes.
So it's like you have a technician there to take the picture, to do things correctly, but who's doing all the analysis and stuff is your AI.
Absolutely.
Very important.
Now, in terms of prospects, I put them up because we have, a lot of prospects right now. A lot of them are in a closing stage. So the first one is Essilor-Luxottica. Everybody maybe saw the MOU we signed with them last year. So we've signed an MOU, and they now own 18,000 stores, but they had 17 when we did this. Okay. And they're the largest optical chain in the world. They control, Essilor was a French maker of lenses, and Luxottica were the frames. So everybody knows a lot of the sunglasses, Yes. So they control that market. Wow. So we signed an MOU, and in the MOU, we're looking at they're looking at the acquisition of our existing platform and our new products that are coming out. And we hope to close this, in probably in the next 60 to 90 days here. Well, that's it is excellent. The largest optical stores in the world, so we'll see. LMC is a Canadian diabetic clinic concept. They have 18 clinics across Canada. We're very close to signing these guys up. Benavides is in Mexico. It's a pharmacy group. They're actually wholly owned by Walgreens Booth. Okay. So Walgreens owns Benavides. They own 1,200 stores. And in Mexico, their concept is to actually put our technology in the largest pharmacies with doctors. So everybody knows in the US, Walgreens has minute clinics. The other guys have minute clinics, and have a small clinic. So the pharmacists are trying to get more patients in. And the way to do it is to take care of their patients. Once they're in the pharmacy to get their medication, they'll do a lot of, here in Canada, you see the blood pressure. So they'll take your blood pressure, you put your arm in the machine. Yes. In Mexico, they're pushing that much further down the road. They'll have full-time doctors, general practitioners in the pharmacy. Okay. 3 shifts, so 3 doctors
Wow.
per pharmacy. So we actually have a proposal to start with 7 of the pharmacies, 7 of the largest pharmacy in Mexico. If everything goes well, they'll go to 60, 70 sites after that. So
Wow.
it's a very good concept for us. Saudi government, we're still working with them. We had a very large pilot with the Mexican government. We did like 100,000 patients in terms of a pilot with them.
Yes.
The COVID actually stopped it, but we know that once the COVID slows down in those countries, it's going to come back.
Yes.
And we have other ones. So we have other prospects that you're going to see. We have smaller ones, we have some bigger ones, and so forth.
Absolutely.
So we have a good funnel.
Yeah, you have a good funnel. Absolutely.
And I'll finish with this slide. So
Yeah.
this is our prediction for in terms of revenue. So we couldn't really pinpoint because we don't know how COVID is going to go away in some of the countries we're in. So I came up with a worst case scenario and a best case.
Okay.
So in 2020, our fiscal year is 2023. So we're in our new fiscal year.
Yes.
Because we have a March 31st end of the year. So our worst case scenario will be around 2.5, best case 6 million.
Okay.
In both cases, we're making money.
Absolutely.
But as we pass over the 2.5 million, we're going to make a lot more money.
Absolutely.
Because we can do more patients with the same people we have.
That's
Because
right.
like you say, it's not people doing the analysis, it's the artificial intelligence.
Correct.
So
It's very exciting because it just makes it just so accessible. I mean, this can go anywhere and everywhere. The AI alone that's doing the work makes it so that you just need a technician there.
right.
And everything is being done by the AI. So, and then after that, of course, naturally the next steps are taken after that. But it's the AI doing the work. It's incredible.
Yeah, we can give accessibility everywhere through either the pharmacist, through the
Yeah.
optometrist, because these optometrists and pharmacists came because of the COVID. So we were working with hospitals that shut down. COVID gave us a kick in the butt where we had to find the new markets. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's very good for us because now we have 3 different markets that we're going after: governments, optometry, and also pharmacy.
Yeah, COVID affected everybody, in many different ways. It's naturally, we wish it never existed, but sometimes you get some downtime to be able to figure out other routes to do other things, which is what you were able to take advantage of. And that just proves the resiliency strength of your company to move forward, is that you said, you know what, we're going to do something. You didn't just sit down, and that's very important for shareholders to actually note.
Yeah, it was but for us, it was beneficial indirectly, but
indirectly.
we now have, our first product is in production. We'll have 3 more this year. We don't have a lot of shares, so that we hope to create the value now by signing more customers, showing revenue, and being available. So I am available whenever you want.
Andre, this is your presentation. We went into very, very specific details. I mean, the viewers out there, for sure understand this. Even the people who listen to it on Spotify, it's very clear that you have a technology using artificial intelligence, which is where the direction of the world is going. It's easily accessible. There's a lot of prevention that it does over here. It's taking care of people. Very positive. It's reducing costs of the government. I don't see any negatives that this technology would do it. It's all beneficial, and the future looks bright in the terms of growing the company, growing the revenue, and in turn creating, shareholder wealth.
Yeah, shareholder value for us for me is very important. I mean, we've suffered the last 2.5 years with this COVID and all that. It gave us at least the opportunity to make our market a bit larger, more practical. Now we're working with private companies such as optometry and pharmacy. We're not stuck with only governments when they decide to stop budgets.
Yes,
we're dead. So now, and I do believe they're going to come back in the next 4 to 6 months. We're going to get our customers back in terms of government. So not everywhere, but many of them.
Okay, well, you know what? I would like to have you in the future when you have, updates for your company and stuff like that. Would you be willing to come back every time you have something that you can, inform us on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd like to see, I have a prediction, I have a prospect list. So the way I'm going to get judges, my revenue, my prospect list, if I don't close them, I'm going to be in deep poo-poo with the shareholders. But when I do one, I'd like to come back for, even if it's for like a minute, and say,
Yeah.
look, we've done it. Now,
Yes.
here's how it's going to roll out now.
Well, absolutely. I mean, naturally, we're educating the viewers. So the updates, we're going to see what you got. We'll get the updates out there. Make sure that the shareholders know where this is going. And I'm really excited for your future, Andre. And you know what? Honestly, thank you from, I think, the people of the world for your technology, because you guys have created something that you're going to be helping a lot of people. And, people should be investing in companies like this.
Yeah, I think we are the future in terms of AI applied into the healthcare. And we're a real AI engine. We're not because everybody put AI in all kinds of analysis.
Yeah.
But we're pure AI. We help people in the medical space, specifically ophthalmology, diabetics, and people that have cardiovascular issues.
Yeah.
And also, we don't have a lot of risks. We are producing revenues now. We don't have a lot of shares. We don't have a lot of debt. And there's no overhang in the market with these warrants and all that. I think we're a really good company to invest in the medium and long term.
I agree. Well, you know what? Thank you, Andre Laurent, President, CEO of Diagnos, on behalf of Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies. Can't wait to have you here again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hello to everyone out there. Just taking 2 seconds of your time and asking you to hit the subscribe and the like button. I'd like to also direct you to betweenplays.com, www.betweenplays.com, where we put up many different articles. We have 3 different writers at the moment, and we're trying to up the authors. And go to our Twitter account for like really quick information at betweenplays1. And we'll be able to get people to, pre-market information and whatever comes along that, is important to macroeconomics, microeconomics. As we say here, our motto: research, prepare, plan, execute. Always do your due diligence, and stay strong, everybody. Stay strong. Cautionary statements regarding forward-looking information and other company information. This news release includes forward-looking information and forward-looking statements, collectively forward-looking information, with respect to the company within the meaning of Canadian securities laws. Forward-looking information is typically identified by words such as believe, expect, anticipate, intend, estimate, postulate, and similar expressions, or are those which by their nature refer to future events. This information represents predictions, and actual events or results may differ materially. Forward-looking information may relate to the company's future outlook and anticipated events, and may include statements regarding the financial results, future financial position, expected growth of cash flows, business strategy, budgets, projected costs, projected capital expenditures, taxes, plans, objective industry trends, and growth opportunities of the company and the projects in which it holds royalty interests. While management considers these assumptions to be reasonable based on information available, they may prove to be incorrect. Forward-looking statements involve known and unknown risks, uncertainties, and other factors, which may cause the actual results, performance, or achievements of the company or these projects to be materially different from any future results, performance, or achievements expressed or implied by the forward-looking statements. These risks, uncertainties, and other factors include, but are not limited to, risks associated with general economic conditions, adverse industry events, marketing costs, loss of markets, future legislation and regulatory developments involving the renewable energy industry, inability to access sufficient capital from internal and external sources, and or inability to access sufficient capital on favorable terms, the mining industry generally, the COVID-19 pandemic, recent market volatility, income tax and regulatory matters, the ability of the company or the owners of these projects to implement their business strategies, including expansion plans, competition, currency, and interest rate fluctuations, and the other risks. The reader is referred to the company's most recent filings on SEDAR, as well as other information filed with the OTC over-the-counter markets for a more complete discussion of all applicable risk factors and their potential effects, copies of which may be accessed through the company's profile page at www.cedar.com and at otcmarkets.com.